So I dove in, right? And so I did a massive amount of research. The most intense experience of research, of effort that I've had, at least in 20 years, probably more. Highly compressed and all consuming. It was fun, actually, because it was something was going on that was allowing me to have that level of energy. I mean, I read, I don't even know how much, so much, and watched so many videos and did so much thinking and talked to so many people. And what happened is I came out the other end with a deeper level of humility in particular, and an awareness of, man, oh man, did I have a lot of basic ideas just wrong. Like the idea of faith, completely wrong. The idea of religion, wrong. The idea of what the crucifixion and this crucifixion narrative is and what it's about, very, very wrong. The notion of the Trinity, wrong, which I've talked about ad nauseum. So the humility was, man, I was wrong about these things. I don't mean just like, how do you say it right? A little bit wrong, but rather naive and adolescent, even petulant, holding the most meaningful things as if I understood them without having even truly attended to them at all properly. You know, it's that showing up, which is interesting. I mean, in the indigenous sense, you learn the wrongness of that very quickly. What are you doing showing up at the sacred mountain, not even knowing that it's a sacred mountain? Whoa, you're a Holly. You can't understand. You're not listening at all. All right, well, same thing here. What am I doing thinking I know what faith is and then presuming to reject something on the basis of a completely inadequate effort to even understand? And so, as through that process, I come to the presence, like the flip, the movement of from truth as semantic content, propositions that are understood, to truth as participatory relationship, for example, and into really having the profound feeling of being swept along, being brought into, and the being brought into having, how do you say it right? All I can say is like all the right characteristics. I'll give you an example. Who here is familiar with the concept of we space? A few we spacers? Yeah. What we might call collective consciousness or Sangha. Like there's variations on the theme that different lineages talk about. But okay, so I had actually gone pretty deep in we space because it turns out you need something like that to navigate the meaning crisis. So okay, fine, I'm using we space faculties, techniques, and oh, whoa. We is actually rather big. We is not the 7 people sitting in this circle. We is in fact the infinite, and the infinite is not a neutral, how do you say, content-free abstraction. The infinite in fact is the exact inverse of that. The infinite is personhood, qua personhood, for example. So all of these different things keep being brought to a higher tone. Like, oh, I'm doing we space, but now I'm doing it in a fashion which is both what it's kind of supposed to be done, well, why it's a thing at all, and in the right fashion. Neat. And I'll give you one more point and then I'll stop talking again. One of the things I noticed during some of the early sermons that I listened to, which is, we have many pastors, pastors giving sermons, was, well, actually several. One was I really appreciated the wholesomeness in the sense of he would move through a sermon, it would go into high theology and then drop down talking about SEC basketball, but maintaining continuity in between. In other words, the analogy of SEC basketball contained the key insights of the high theology very well. So I could appreciate all of that, which is to say that he's speaking to everybody. It's an actual, it's a community. He's speaking to the people in this community, and he's carefully endeavoring to speak properly and honestly so that everybody can participate. But the theology is very good. That's one. Two, as he's doing this, I have a couple of encounters where he says something, and I have what I learned from Benita Roy was what you call it, reaction? In other words, like I did this, right? Oh, I don't like that. Right? Some contraction. Some part of me actually hardens against it. But I'm in this context, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And so I inquire, and around about my heart, I get this experience, and it basically says, you didn't like that, and that's because you're wrong. Like, oh shit. That was like, in half a second, and that I'm wrong somehow is being able to be held in a space of, yeah, you're right, I was wrong. All right, I'm not doing that anymore. Which that's how I understand the meaning of the term conviction in at least the Protestant branch. I think that's mostly right, but I think a lot of people use it differently, so FYI. Yeah, so I kept having this experience of being convicted, which deepens humility, by the way, and allowed me to begin to notice what exactly is happening here in a better fashion, because I'm here in some sense now to receive a truth, like a relationship with truth that is vastly deeper, vastly deeper than anything I could ever have hoped to do. And yet simultaneously connects with the faculties that I have the most trust in first and works it up from there. Okay.